Welcome to Unapologetic Badasses Beyond Life series. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I'm your host, and today I am with McKenna Reitz. Her life forever changed when she lost all her hair due to the autoimmune disease alopecia. Instead of allowing alopecia to define her, McKenna decided to define it. When most will believe that losing your hair will take away your identity, alopecia actually gave her her identity and her true purpose in life. As an AP psychology teacher, a varsity volleyball coach, and a motivational speaker, McKenna uses her strengths to inspire others to change their perspective on life and others while understanding that we're all battling something and we must support one another unconditionally. McKenna, it's such a pleasure to interview you today. Your story really inspires me, and what you're doing in the world is what made me want to talk to you, because I know not only you are dealing, or actually I should say living with alopecia, but you are making a difference with it. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about you. I want to learn about your journey. When this whole thing started?
It's kind of ironic, but growing up, I had the most full, beautiful head of hair. I was made fun of so much for my hair because it was so thick and so wavy and so curly. And I hated my hair. And then I finally fell in love with my hair. It just kind of ironic or funny of how my hair has kind of molded me into the person that I am today. I had my second daughter in 2015, in May of 2015. And that summer, I remember in July, I started feeling some redness right here, and it was just warm and itchy, and I didn't think anything of it. And then I noticed that my hair started to get really thin, and I'm just like, oh, it must be just postpartum hair loss, what you normally go through after having babies. And by about end of October, I noticed it significantly falling out, and we took our last family pictures in November, beginning of November, and by December 1st, it was 95% all gone. It was a very quick thing, of course, not knowing what was happening. Was it alopecia? Was I sick? Of course, going to every single doctor possible and trying every type of method, from topical to medications to shots, everything. And so I decided to shave my head before the year was over. I remember it was like end of December. And that was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, but I had to take control of it. I felt that if I shaved off the 5 last strands that were on my head, I was taking control of it, and I wasn't allowing it to control me. But that's when the journey really started to begin, of being bald, of not having hair. And then my eyelashes started to go, my eyebrows started to go. So I have alopecia universalis. So I have 0 hair on all of my body. And that was, to lose everything, it felt like I lost my identity.
Right.
My identity had been ripped away from me. Was known for my hair. I was known, as females we're talking about our hair all the time. And then it was ripped away from me so quickly, which in retrospect, I'm happy that it went so quick. We try and put ourselves in different people's shoes of when you lose it, when you're younger, when you're older, how quickly it goes or how slowly it goes. But in hindsight, I'm happy that it went quickly. In a weird way, but you have to look back on your journey and analyze it, and be thankful for how far you've come.
Right. So going back to that moment when you decided, okay, this is it, I'm going to take control over it, I'm going to shave my head. Like, what was it about shaving your head as opposed to doing something else? Like why shaving your head? And the reason, let me tell you why I asked this. So as I've been talking to more people with alopecia, I think that we have 2 paths, right? Like, we get comfortable with it and we start wearing hair, like me, or you don't, right? So I think it's very interesting to learn, like, Like, what was it about not like just shaving your head that was important to you as opposed to wearing hair?
Well, I actually still wear wigs. Like
Oh, okay.
yeah, I still wear wigs. It wasn't until this past school year of when I started to go bald. It actually was when I went to my first NAF conference,
Right.
in Seattle, is when I walked out of my hotel room for the very first time without anything on my head. And I figured if I'm going to do it, this is the perfect place to do it. And so covered my head for the first 3 years. No one had ever seen me bald, ever.
Mm.
But when I took the leap of faith to shave my head, I kept imagining, I don't know if you ever seen the movie G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. She's amazing.
Yes, yes.
She's a
She looks gorgeous. Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, if she looks that good bald, I pray to God, and I kept telling everyone, if I could just get little spikies back and look like G.I. Jane, I will rock it and I will go out bald. But of course I didn't. But, I think, and I've been telling myself this and telling people this, that you either allow alopecia or whatever you're fighting in your life to define you, or you define it. And that's the biggest thing, is that I was allowing alopecia, and I continue to allow alopecia to define me for months after. But once I just started to define it and making it my identity rather than it taking away my identity, it gave me my purpose in life. It gave me my reason. And so, shaving my head and looking at myself bald for the first time was the most probably traumatic experience of my life. But from that point on, I got better every day, just little by little, and so there are some days I go to school teaching and I wear wigs. And then I went probably the last 3 months of school not wearing wigs because I'm just realizing how nice it is not to have to sweat or, my hair getting red, anything. When I'm teaching, I get so hot and I'm sweating, and I just realized how comfortable I became. But I wanted to throw up the first day of being bald in front of my students. It was nerve-wracking, but knowing that I had the support got me through it.
That's amazing. And so I know that you do have children. So what was the process like sharing with them and being with them throughout this experience?
My oldest, when I started losing my hair, she was 3.5. So she was still young and not really understanding what was happening. The most difficult part of that was for me not to cry in front of her, to not show her pain, because and my youngest, before I get to that, my youngest was just born. And so she doesn't ever remember me having hair. So even to this day, I get 2 different perspectives. I get now an 8-year-old perspective and a 5-year-old perspective. And my goal, as not only as a mother, but as a female and as a woman, I want to show them that whatever comes at us, we are strong enough to get through it. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to say that you're weak, because that weakness shows you that you're actually strong. And so I have to be strong for my girls, because that my biggest fear is what if it happens to them? Because it is genetic. What if they start to lose their hair? How are they going to experience it? And how are they going to look at themselves in the mirror? And I want them to say, my mom did it and I can do it. And that was the biggest thing. I remember when my oldest came home from kindergarten, they had to draw a family picture, and then she drew me bald, and I instantly just started crying. And it was tough, but then I'm like, but that's how they see me. And I have to be okay with that. And, my 4-year-old, well, now 5, but said, I can't wait to be an adult, take my hair off too. There's just so many different perspectives that I get to kind of be put back in my place a little bit of my purpose. And it's to continue to show what a strong woman can battle and get through.
Where did you find the strength? Like, were there any tools, a person, like a support system that you had? Like, what helped you get comfortable in coming to this other side? Because I think that's one of the things that I struggled with at the beginning is that I felt like I had no hope. I felt like I felt different, like I couldn't relate to other people. So it was really hard for me to talk to others. And so I started focusing on my mindset because I realized like, well, if I can change the out here, I have to change my mindset and what goes in here. So that's what I started focusing on my mindset, like how I was talking to myself, my conversations, my dialogue, because I was super mean to myself every single day, just look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, this is really bad. So I started focusing on changing that. And that was really what helped me get to the other side. But I want to hear from you, like what helped you? Because I know it's not easy, but I'm interested to learn like what helped you get to the other side.
As women, we are taught by society that we have to be strong enough and you have to internalize everything, and that, by showing emotion, you're going to be weak. And, I think there's two different things that gave me my strength. One was being honest, open and honest with my students from the get-go. So when I started to lose my hair started thinning out, I was wearing headbands to cover because this is where I lost it first. And I told them from the get-go, I don't know what's happening. I'm starting to lose my hair. I'm going to start to look different. And I didn't hide it from the get-go. And I'm glad that I was, because if I had to continue to hide it, it would have created so much more anxiety than I already have. And I didn't need that. And the second part is that I'm very blessed to have a very strong, supportive family. My husband, who says, I love you regardless. It doesn't matter if hair, of course, hair is hair. And of course we miss it, and hair is our identity, but he was there and loves me regardless. And that was a big thing. My mom actually had alopecia. She grew up, and when she was about, I think 11 or 12, her hair started to recede back just a little. And now this was she'll kill me for saying the 50s or 60s, but it just came back. And then she'll get a spot here or there. But she could relate a little bit. But I didn't know anyone who had alopecia. And then of course, once you have it, and then you start noticing everyone who does have it, and noticing now I can spot who wears a wig and who doesn't, just because I wear wigs.
Right.
But the fact that I could go to my parents, and that I could go to my husband, and I had a strong support system of friends, you have to be open with people and tell them what you're struggling with, because we as women, we do internalize so much, and then we blow up. And that is the worst thing, as we've learned over our years, is the worst thing that we can do to our bodies, physically, psychologically, emotionally. And so just being open and honest is the biggest thing. And I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I said to my husband, I'm going to bed. Like, I couldn't look at myself. I couldn't talk to anyone. And he's like, all right, I got the kids. That was the biggest thing. And I still remember, this was probably the toughest night. It was in late November. I remember in the shower, and the worst thing was washing my hair. Of course, that was the worst part. And I remember sitting in the shower and just chunks of hair coming out. And I was just standing there in the shower with my hands just covered in hair. And I got out, and I couldn't handle it. And I got in the car, and I drove right to my parents, and they live a mile away. And I walked in the house, and that was the first time they'd ever seen me, because otherwise I had my head wrapped. And that was my breaking point. But the fact that they just hugged me like unconditionally was, it gave me the strength to continue on. Having a mom who is the strongest woman I know has given me the strength to, and the person I strive to be. So we look to surround ourselves with people who inspire us, and I'm blessed to be surrounded by those continuously every day.
Thank you for sharing that. And so now, is there anything that, now that you're to the other side and you feel comfortable with it, is there anything that you would have done differently if you could go back in time in the last 5 years?
We try to live without regrets. And
right.
I feel like, looking back at my journey, I don't think I would be as strong as I am today, if I didn't go through that, of being able to look back and think, wow, I was able to wake up every day, even if I didn't want to, I still woke up every day because I had a job, I had a family, I had kids, I had things that need to be taken care of. And so like, even my mom had said to me, she's like, McKenna, you're the strongest person I know. I don't know how you're doing it. There's no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
There is no other choice but to continue to wake up every day, even when you don't want to. So I don't think I would change anything. You know, I wish I would have gone out bald sooner and had the balls to do it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But we are our own worst enemy. We're so worried what other people think when those other people don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends and our family, the people that love us, that matter. And even if they don't support you, then screw them. Like that's what I've kind of learned and stopped kind of caring what other people think, but it's taken me a long time to get there. A
Yeah.
long time.
And I love that you say that, because for me, I always try to like highlight what good things alopecia has brought into my life. And I think that's one of them, is that, well, two things that are super important to me is like, as you shared earlier, we all have our differences, right? So I am now more open, more loving, I want to say, more understanding. And also alopecia it's kind of like a filter, right? Because like, you know, right away, I mean, right now I'm married and it's fine, but like, I will know right away from a guy, you know, that was like judging me for that. And like, that's the people that you don't want in your life, or friends, or, you know, anybody, strangers. Like, you just, it makes you, it's kind of like this filter that now you know that the people that stay and the people that are with you are the people that truly love you for who you are.
Exactly.
So those two things have been huge for me. Any like good things that alopecia has brought to you?
I I think the biggest thing is that, you know, when I felt like I was alone of having alopecia, now I've met so many amazing people like yourself because of my journey. Like, it wouldn't have I would have never gone to Seattle. I would have never met the amazing people at NAF. I've never met and followed the amazing people on Instagram who are battling the same thing that we are. I, you know, it's introduced me to a whole new world because I've started to share my story and be out there, and it's given me opportunities and experiences. And the other thing is like, it's exactly what you said, is that I'm not as judgmental as I was. I don't even, you know, like, it's just given me a new perspective, not only on life, but on other people. Is that what I've realized is that regardless if you're battling alopecia or not, that you're everyone in this world. Even if you think they're the most perfect in the perfect life, everyone's battling something. Even if it's a little tiny hill or a huge mountain, everyone's battling something, but they get to hide and we don't get to hide. We are continually, you know, being seen in the limelight. You know, I don't know how many times people have come up to me like, oh my gosh, are you going through treatment? Can I pray for you? You know, are you a survivor? And at first it used to bother me, but now I get to meet new people and I get to tell them what alopecia is instead of saying no. Thankfully, I'm perfectly healthy, and and then they're usually the survivor, and I get to meet new people that way. But I take a step back when I look at people and how, if they're acting strangely or different or doing something out of the ordinary, and that's something's going on in their life, and you just have to take that step back and respect them and support them unconditionally, saying, you know what, maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe something's going on at home. And it's allowed me to, I think, become a better educator, a better friend, I hope, because of that. And so I tell people that alopecia has been a blessing in my life. When I thought it was a curse, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Now, if I could get my hair back, would I? Sure. But you know what? But it's changed my life for the better. And I never thought I would ever say that 5 years ago or 4 years ago. Things happen for a reason. And I remember my mom always said, God gives, the toughest challenges to the strongest people. And I wanted to be like, screw you, Mom. Why does it have to be me?
Yeah.
But now I know.
Yep.
I know why God gave it to me. And I'm not that religious of a person, but I understand why God gave it to me. He has a plan for me, and he gave me my purpose in life.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that because those were my mom had those words when I started doing the first summit, the Overcoming Medical Hair Loss Summit. I think she sent me a voice note. So it was something like, all these years I've been praying that God will take my hair and give it to you. But now I know why that didn't happen. Now I know that you're here to help other people. And I'm just
Mom
so
said the
thankful.
same thing. She's like, I'll shave my head for you. I want to give you. Like, no, we don't need two bald people in this.
Yeah,
No, we're good. We're good. No, it's, as a mother, I think, my mom went with me to the NAF conference this past year, and I think it was more beneficial for her than me because she got to be surrounded by other parents who feel helpless, and they want to, bring as much happiness and want to help. And she felt helpless. And I think it kind of helped her more than it helped me.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I never thought of that. I should probably invite my mom now that it's going to be virtual.
Right.
The conference this year, I'll probably invite her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so we've covered a lot of things, but I want to know if one thing that you want to leave us with from your journey to the people that are now just starting to go through this or like really struggling. What is one thing that you want to leave us with?
That you're not alone, that everyone that is affected by alopecia, regardless if it's a little hair loss or complete hair loss, is that we're all on this journey together, but our journeys are very different. That you could have been bald for 20 years and still be, hiding it from friends and family to being completely out. But regardless of where you're on your journey, we're here for you 100%, and that we support you, that we don't judge you. We just be you. That's the biggest thing. If you want to wear hair, wear hair. I get to make the choice every day if I want to wear hair, if I don't. Just understand that everyone is on this journey, that everyone's experiencing the journey very differently, and that we support one another unconditionally. That's the biggest thing. And regardless if you have alopecia or not, that we're on this journey together. And that's the biggest thing. It's just everyone's has different roads. That's it.
Right. And I love that you said that because I think it's important to be respectful of where we are in our journey. And that's something that I'm very mindful of now that I have conversations with other alopecians is always asking like, where are you at with us? Because I don't want to assume that just because I feel good about it now, others are feeling good about it too. So again, McKenna, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I loved having you, and thank you for sharing your story, for being vulnerable, being open. I know it's hard for a lot of people to share their story, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's because of you that we have the strength to be able to do this, so thank you.
All right, we'll see you in the next interview. Thank you.